Hi, guys. Welcome into Three Bold Takes. And today I just wanted to discuss this permanent or these set rivalry games the SEC just announced. Now, I think a lot of people are under a bit of a misconception here. These aren't going to be like forever and always. These are your three permanent games. For those who don't know, the SEC starting next year in 2026 is going to move to a 9 game conference schedule. The format of which is that you're going to play three set rivalry games and you're going to play them every single year. And then you're going to have 6 other games that rotate. So year one and year two, you're going to play 6 of the remaining 12 teams. So yourself and your three permanent rivals are out of the equation. That leaves 12 teams. They're going to play your three set rivals, and then you're going to play 6 teams that aren't those set rivals for year one and two. And then year three and four, you're going to play the other 6. And then they're going to reevaluate after those 4 years and set up a new permanent rival system. But Freddie, I wanted to see what you think because me personally, there's some big games that are not on here that I'm a little bummed about. I get you couldn't keep everything, but let's
Yeah.
go ahead and get the cat out of the bag. Alabama and LSU is not going to be a set game, which means there will be 2 years from 2026 through 2029 that we do not see Alabama and LSU play each other.
Yeah, that's a tough scene there. I know that Alabama and Mississippi State is a actual rival per se when it comes to years of play compared to the LSU game. But when I think of a rival, I don't think of long history with teams playing. I think more of historic games that have been meaningful, that have cost people seasons, have has cost teams championships, and that's what Alabama LSU is. But I want to mention, uh, thank God that we're going to a 9 game conference schedule. I mean, this is huge. I've said this for a long time. I think COVID in 2020 was the best season of pure SEC football that there's ever been because you played 10 SEC games in a row. Yeah, you had buys in there, but there was no cupcakes. There was no, I mean, you can call it out of conference, but I wouldn't call Wisconsin a particularly great out of conference schedule
Yeah.
this year anyway. But when they scheduled it, obviously, it was like, oh, cool, like they just came off of an 11 game season, whatever. Um, but I'm so glad that the SEC is going to a 9 game schedule. Another game that I hate we're not going to be able to get is Florida and LSU. Though, like, it seems like the past couple of years, those games have been electric. Not necessarily a rival per se, but they've just been some great football games. You go all the way back to, as I mentioned, 2020 and COVID, that debacle in the fog that cost Florida a playoff berth. Now
Yeah.
they did go on to lose to Alabama in the SEC title, but if they would have won that game against LSU, that wouldn't have mattered. They still would have made the playoffs. There's just some historic kind of games there from recent memory that come to mind. But what are the ones that you're thinking of? You are the resident kind of rivalry expert here.
Well, one of the big ones that sticks out to me is I feel like there's a lot of people who love to talk about the fact that like nobody's a true rival with Missouri, like at all, right? Like that Missouri and Arkansas have a rivalry trophy, but you go ask an Arkansas fan and they're gonna put LSU, A&M, and Texas all above the Missouri game. So when you're fourth in line, I don't think that's a big deal to the Arkansas fan base. But there's one fan base that I think actually kind of cares about the Missouri game, and it's South Carolina of all fan bases. And South Carolina and Missouri will not play each other as a cross rivalry game. Another one, and this is the I think if you want to say that the biggest one is Alabama LSU, I'd say the next biggest is Tennessee Florida. Tennessee Florida is not going to be a
Yeah,
protected game.
that's tough.
Yeah, I mean that one's got a name and everything. Third Saturday in September, like it has some history to it. I mean those two basically when they met, it determined the SEC East for an entire decade. Um, so that one stinks. And then the last one, like for those who haven't looked at it, go look at Arkansas and Texas A&M. They have the same protected rivals. They have Texas, they have Missouri, and they have Oklahoma. No, Texas,
LSU.
Missouri, and LSU. LSU. They don't have each other, and they hate each other. Like, why are they not rivals against each other?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Again, I get it. They couldn't get every single team, and the other thing is they're trying to get some like balance, right? Like you go and look at Auburn. Auburn and Vandy is not a thing. It's never even remotely been close to being a thing. But they were like, okay, well, who can we give you to counterbalance the fact that your protected
Alabama
rivals
and
are
Georgia.
Alabama and Georgia? And so they gave them Vandy, which honestly, Clark Lee Vandy, not the Vandy that they're pulling the history from, but I get why
Yeah.
they gave them Vandy. All in all, though, I think it'll be an overall good thing for those who are upset about like, oh, I wanted this team out of the three. Yeah, you're not going to play them every single year, but you're still going to play them 2 out of the next 4 years. Like you're going to play everybody in the SEC 2 out of the next 4 years. And I beg people to ask, like, who's your biggest game? Chances are they're on your protected list.
Mm-hmm.
Other than maybe Tennessee fans. Tennessee fans might say Florida's their biggest deal, and they're the only ones that I think have a case to say that their biggest game is not. And then I guess maybe LSU fans, because I think a lot of LSU fans would say Alabama. But other than that, Ole Miss still has Mississippi State, Alabama still has Auburn, um, and so on and so forth. Georgia still has Florida. So most of the big protected games I think are still safe. It's just the two big ones that sting that I noticed was Florida, Tennessee, and Alabama, LSU.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I'm just glad that it's a 9-game conference schedule because here's the deal. I mean, you've got teams like Texas A&M and Georgia. Like A&M has been in the SEC since 2012, right?
Yep.
13 years. They've never, or Georgia's never played at Kyle Field. And it's like that should not happen in a 13-year span. I don't care how many teams you have in a conference. And I know that in that time the SEC went from East and West to, no divisions and, been a lot of changes going on. But yeah, just super excited about it. I don't think this is going to be an entirely huge deal. I think they got the bulk of them right, minus those two. But like you said, you can't make everybody happy.
Yeah, no, you can't make everybody happy, and I think at the end of the day, this is going to overall be good. I think your biggest game is still safe. And so I'm just really excited to watch some super competitive SEC ball. It's about time that they caught up to the standard of the 9-game conference schedule. And I think they'll be rewarded by it for the playoff committee as well.
Also, what's kind of being overlooked, though, on that front is the fact that you still have to have an elevated opponent in your schedule.
Yeah.
So it has to be like a non-con that's of an elevation type of game. And I think that's kind of being overlooked when they talk about 9-game conference schedule because that's a big deal. I mean, that's going to guarantee games like Bama and Florida State. Like that's going to guarantee games like LSU, Clemson, Texas, Ohio State. Games like that, it's going to start guaranteeing that year over year for every single team. One that was an awesome game, Mississippi State, Arizona State. Like those are great games that we have never seen before that are going to be mandated now.
Yeah, that's my favorite part of it, frankly. You're going to have a 10-game. Look, you're not going to, I think it's irrational to play 12 major games, right? Like, even in a world where we get rid of the G5, I think you shrink the season to like a 10-game season. So playing those two like warm-up, tune-up games, I think it's fine when you have 10 legitimate, fun-to-watch games. Nobody likes watching Alabama, Louisiana, Monroe, or Georgia, Marshall. Nobody likes that. So I'm really excited for 2026 and beyond with the SEC and finally caught up to the times. But you guys let us know down below what you think about this new setup from the SEC. I've been Quinn, joined by Freddie, and we've been Three Bold Takes. We're out.